Hello and welcome. Today, we're jumping into the book 50/50, a speaking and listening course intro. We're going to be working through Unit 8, and the title is Do You Have One? Possessions. In Arabic, that's هل تملك واحدا الممتلكات. Our main goal today is pretty straightforward. We're going to learn how to talk about the things we own and how to ask other people about their possessions. So here's a quick look at our game plan. We'll kick things off with a simple conversation to get us warmed up. After that, we'll get into some serious practice for both listening and speaking. Then we'll pause to really nail down the grammar rules, and we'll wrap it all up with a quick homework task so you can keep practicing on your own. Ready? Let's get started. Okay, let's dive right in. We're going to start things off with a short dialogue. This is just to get us thinking about possessions, so listen carefully to how the speakers ask and answer questions about the things they have. All right, let's listen to this quick exchange between Denise and John. Denise says, "Oh, I don't have the car keys. Do you?" And John answers, "Yeah, I have them." Okay, let's go. You see? That simple back and forth is exactly what we're focusing on today, how to say what you have and what you don't have. So, the most important word here is the verb have. Let's look at those key phrases again. The question, do you have the keys? Which in Arabic is هل لديك المفاتيح? And the answers, yeah, I have them, or نعم هي معي, and I don't have the car keys, or ليس لدي مفاتيح السيارة. This is the exact structure we're going to practice today.
Awesome! Let's move on to our listening practice. In this part, you're going to hear another conversation between John and Denise. Your job is to listen very carefully for the specific items they say they have for their big camping trip.
But wait, before we listen, let's go over some vocabulary that you're going to hear. It'll make understanding much easier. We have a camping stove, موقد تخييم, a compass, بوصلة, a flashlight, مصباح يدوي, a tent, خيمة, insect spray, رذاذ الحشرات, and a canteen, مطرة ماء. Got those? Great. So, in the full conversation, John and Denise are going through a pretty long list of things they need. Let's start with this first question you see here. John asks, "Do we have the tent?" And Denise replies, "Yes, John, you have that." Now, as you listen to the whole thing, really try to track who has which item. Okay, so if you were listening closely, you probably noticed they remembered all the really important camping stuff. But what's not on their list? Things like a cell phone or a camera. It looks like they're really going for a classic off-the-grid kind of trip. Now, this table breaks it all down for us. Who has what? You can see that Denise has the maps and the insect spray. Meanwhile, John has the tent and the sleeping bags. It really looks like they've split up the responsibilities perfectly and are all set for their adventure. Now let's build on that skill. We're going to practice talking about what other people have. Now, the main thing to remember here is that we change have to has when we're talking about someone else, like a he or a she.
Let's try a fun example. Take a look at this information about Julia Roberts. I could ask, does she have a house in Paris? Well, according to our chart, the answer is yes, she does. Okay, how about a car? Does she have a Mercedes? The chart says no, so the answer is no, she doesn't. See how that works?
Let's do one more, this time with Denzel Washington. Look at his items. If I ask, does he have a helicopter? A quick look at the slide tells us, no, he doesn't. But what about a motorcycle? Does he have a motorcycle? Yes, he does. Notice how the question always starts with does for he and she. Okay, now it's your turn. I want you to try saying 2 sentences out loud right now. First, tell me something you have. For example, I have a smartphone. Then, tell me something you don't have, like I don't have a cat. Go ahead, you can pause the lesson and give it a try. Great job. Now let's work on asking questions directly to someone else. This is a super common and really useful skill for everyday conversations. We're going to focus on the question format, do you have? Take a look at the structure right here. If I want to ask you about a bicycle, I'd say, do you have a bicycle? If your answer is yes, you just say, yes, I do. If it's no, you say, no, I don't. Simple, right? Let's try one more. Do you have a pet? What would you say? So, what happens if the answer is yes and you want to know more? Well, you can ask a follow-up question, like, what kind do you have? For example, do you have a cell phone? Yes, I do. What kind do you have? It's a Sony. You see? This is how you keep a conversation going.
We've done a lot of practice, which is fantastic. So now, let's just take a quick moment to review the grammar rules and vocabulary. This will help make sure everything we've learned today really sticks. Okay, this slide sums it all up perfectly. Just remember, for I, you, we, and they, we always use have and don't have. For example, they have a car. But for he and she, it switches to has and doesn't have, like she has a cat. The same pattern applies to questions. It's do you have, but does she have? Let's do a quick fire review of the new vocabulary from today. I'll say the word in English, and you can see the Arabic translation right there. Ready? Camping stove, compass, flashlight, tent, motorcycle, pet, and camcorder. Try saying them out loud after me to practice your pronunciation. And just to finish up our lesson, I've got a little homework task for you. This is a fantastic chance to practice these new skills on your own and really make them stronger. Here's what you need to do. First, make a list of 6 things that you or your family members have. Second, make another list of 6 things you don't have. And finally, use those lists to write 12 full sentences. For example, you might write, I have a laptop computer. And for the second list, something like, my sister doesn't have a snowboard. And that is a wrap on our lesson all about possessions. Thank you so much for joining me and for all your hard work today. Before you go, I'll leave you with a question to think about. What is one possession you just can't live without, and why? Keep practicing, and I'll see you next time.